and zoning, and then the building department as well. So that if you're, for instance, a owner who just leased out a 2,000 square foot space, white box in a strip mall, and they want to put in a new pizza parlor in there. Okay. If you're listening to me, potential pizza owner, please get in touch with an architect almost immediately, even before you sign the lease. Why? Because that architect, especially if they're local, they're going to know how long it takes to get through that planning and zoning department, so that when you go to lease negotiations, you can be well advised to negotiate a lease that allows for that, so you're not paying for rent
while you're retrofitting the space.
While you don't even have a building permit. Because
right.
You know what I mean? Because that's how long things are taking. And houses are in this category too, because in Denver, right now it takes 12. Once we're done with our drawings and we submit them, it takes 12 months to get a building permit.
Way.
Yeah. No, it's insane. And then you go to a different town, like say Longmont, Colorado, where we are headquartered in, which is 30 miles north. That's about a month, 2 months. Yeah. So that's the first thing that architects can do. And then the other big one that you mentioned and we're getting towards is we can take the average amount of decisions it takes to design, to facilitate building a house, all picking out the paint, picking out all the everything, working with the architects, all the decisions is it's like between 2,000 and 3,000 decisions that you have to make. If you hire the right architect and the right team surrounding that, they can help just facilitate and funnel that down to a digestible amount of information for you to make quick, affordable decisions for yourself. Otherwise, if you're trying to do all of it, and I'm with you. If you are listening to this and you're in Oklahoma and you're like, I'm going to build my own house. This is America. This is the American dream. I've done it. I totally believe in that.
Do it.
But it couldn't hurt if you can afford an architect to do that, because that's the other big thing they can do for you, business-wise too.
What I'm hearing too is you're doing expectation management. You're letting the potential homeowner understand what they're getting into, and you're being honest about it. You're being forthright about it. You're not saying, listen, oh yeah, we can throw this house up in 3 months. Yeah, you probably could, but you have all these hurdles that you have to jump before you get to that point. And putting those choices, and there are like 3,000 choices, it's overwhelming. I mean, just, backboard, backsplashes. I know that one of the projects I did in my house, I took on putting in a wood floor myself, tongue and groove, rented the machine, the whole 9 yards. And I remember going through and, for God's sakes, choosing the wood. What kind of wood do I want? Do I want it engineered? Do I want it complete? Do I want it oak? Do I want it pine? By the time I did that, I had to take a rest, because I was just like, for God's sakes. Then you have to make the choices of what kind of finishing products do you want to use, things like that. But I have to tell you, once you do that and you start doing it's addictive, because every time I walk to this day, every time I walk past my dining room and I see that floor, I know I did it with my own hands. I know I made all of those choices, and I'm really, really proud of it. And then I also know how much I appreciate what you do, because I would rather hire somebody now than go through all that again, because it would have been nice to have someone guiding me through it and doing that. So, at the time I had my dad, so that was good. So he was helping me with it. But knowing that a professional is out there and knowing that you're going to keep me safe. I mean, a simple thing, it seems so simple. I'm going to move this wall in my house. It could be a load-bearing wall, and that could be detrimental to the house and the strength of the house. So having an architect is real important. Plus, what I love about you guys is you really keep the builders in alignment to make sure they're doing it the right way. You really keep all of the trades in alignment to make sure that they have the right amount of electricity in the house. It's the right box. It's not 100, it's 200 if that's what's required. Those things, those attention to details, and architects are typically very, very much control freaks and attention to detail. And you want just that. You want a pit bull, control freak, attention to detail. You got a good architect, and kindness, which definitely, clearly, I see that you are. So would you agree with my assessment on those things?
Oh yeah. Your assessment of architects is spot on. I think that was great. The one thing though, I will add to what I didn't note, if the listeners if the light bulb's going off in their head, it's like, he didn't say anything about design. Design is the default. Yeah. Like the good design is going to happen. And obviously you're going to look at, you go search Architects Colorado, you're going to look at different designs. Some are going to speak to you more. You're going to probably narrow it down to 3 architects to interview and everything. But the design is a default like that. And I mean that in the best possible way. I don't mean that as a dig. You're already going to do that. the other stuff, the other two big points, that's really the meat of the whole thing.
And that's where you have the least amount of knowledge and you need the most amount of guidance. And that's why I love your model, that you design it and you go all the way through the process with the build as well, because you're being held accountable. I'm a coach. I love that word. You're being held accountable from design to build. So until I get my keys to my front door, I know you're in the process and I go to speak to one person. You're giving me all of that information so I can make an informed decision as the homeowner, property owner, right? And having that continuity is so important to the process. It will take a lot of the stress/fear off. Stress and fear to me are words that are interchangeable. When we're stressed, we're fearful of something of unknown, right? And we're stressed out. That's a fear that we're coming to. With your expectation management and what your communication style is, you're helping them through that and helping them understand and acting as that go-between, that liaison between the builder, the trades, the decision-making, the suppliers is basically what you're doing. It's amazing. And I can see you get such great joy from it. And why does this discipline equal freedom to you?
Both of them, architecture or building? Or the whole thing?
Both of them, the whole thing, because to you, it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a separate. Do you? Is it a separatism to you? Because I don't see that.
No, I think you're right. I'm okay with combining them. Yes. I like the line blurred essentially. So why I think it equals freedom is because, for instance, with the design, one of the most free type of projects there is as far as what I can do and what I can't do is when I get these special clients, and I it seems like we have 7 architects, so at least we get at least one per person in the firm each year. And an example of that is that, like on our website, f9productions.com, if you just look up or you just Google Eastwatch Home, it's very popular. It went kind of viral after we made the cover of Builder Magazine in 2021. That was on a 10-acre site in the foothills of Colorado. If you've been to Colorado, it's very beautiful, obviously, especially when you start getting into those mountains in the foothills. And when you're on a big site like that and you're doing a single family home with a good budget, I take it so seriously, it becomes a spiritual endeavor for me, where I've got to go look at that. I've got to go up to the property with the client. I've got to do another sort of interview after they signed a contract with us. And then I'm a fishing addict and a professional fisherman. And then I usually then take the next 3 or 4 days in the mountains. And I haven't drawn anything yet. I'm just thinking about it. I'm letting it all marinate. And by the time I'm done with that 3 or 4 day stint, it is a flurry of a sketch in just a few minutes. And I've got the vision. And I'm like, that's freedom. I mean, I am creating space where there wasn't space before. Like the walls, the roofs, the windows, the doors, that's all this molding of the space. And then it's just as ethereal when you build too. I mean, you are fighting nature. You're fighting the gravity. You're fighting the wind. It's man against nature. It's like, is there anything more free than that endeavor?
I also think as an architect, you may be fighting it on one element, but you're also integrating into it, being able to morph it so that it works within the environment that it's placed in. To me, that's the design element where you're creating this beautiful structure to work with the earth so that someone can have that vision and have that space, that environment that just works with that particular owner. And I love how your process is. That's just juicy and yummy and just beautiful. That's just beautiful.
It's one of my favorite parts for sure. I mean, and that's usually, and I'm serious. I like that. I do that. I don't do that for every project because every project doesn't require that. But when we are going to be affecting a raw piece of land that has never been built on before, like it's pristine, it better be very thoughtful. It better be a serious endeavor because exactly that point that you said of, it's not about dominating the land. It's not about dominating nature. It's about coexisting with it. Yes. And that takes thought.
Yeah. And taking that in and being honorable to the space that you're placing this structure on. Something just perked up in my head, something you said way back in the beginning of the interview. And, you have this entrepreneurial spirit to you. And, what are the fundamental keys to business success that you would want to share with our listeners?
they're so simple. It sounds too good to be true, or it almost sounds too simple, I think. But it took us a lot of complication to then be able to simplify it down to the principles.
Sure.
We have 9 principles that we live by. I won't list them all off. I'll only give you maybe the top 2 or 3 that I think every person who provides some other service or product to somebody in the business capacity should be doing. And I think we'd be a better world because of it.
Okay.
Even this could even go into your personal life, because I try to translate this into our personal life. So our 9 principles are on our website if anybody wants to take a look. The number one is be a good communicator.
Yeah.
So we have a very hard and fast rule at our firm, and this is why it's my number one, I think, and this is why I think we just won the Best of Mile High, which is the best architecture firm. That is the award for the best architecture firm in the Denver metro area.
Yeah.
Is because we communicate so well. So the rule is, all of our staff know this, I do this, everybody does it, is if a client, if a subcontractor, if somebody we're working with, anything in a business capacity, if they reach out to us, you have to get back to them within 1 hour. Text, email, call. If you don't know the answer to what they're asking, if they're asking you a question, it's okay to just still get back to them within the 1 hour and just say, hey, I got your question. I need to look into it further. I will get back to you. And then they have to get back to them within 24 hours with a full answer.
Acknowledgement. I like that. Okay.
Oh yeah. I mean, they're paying us. It's like, you are our lifeblood clients.
Yes.
We are here to serve you.
Yes.
That is just so important. So it sounds so simple, but it's like, I can't tell you how many other owners have came to us because they fired another architect, and they would say exactly this. They would say, the other architect was really good at what they did, except I couldn't get a hold of them. Like, they would not return a call within a week or 2 days or whatever it was with that. And so that's how we translated that. The other big one is under promise, over deliver. Yes. Every time. Tell the frickin' truth, because people want to please people. Obviously, like I want to please people. I want to do a good job in this show for everybody, Lori. But I think people are too afraid to say no. And what I'm getting at is, if somebody says, if a new client comes to me and they say, well, when can you start? They probably want to hear tomorrow.
Yeah.
What's the truth? A week from now, 2 weeks from now, whatever it is. How long is it going to take us to get to the building department in Denver, Lance? They want to hear a month. It's going to take you 12 months, guys. And because if you lie to them, first of all, you're starting the whole relationship on a lie. That's a bad idea. Liars it's just not a good thing.
They'll catch up with you.
Yeah. But you're setting yourself up for failure throughout the whole process. Then, like, you're climbing up a mountain every single day already. Now you're climbing up a mountain with like a rock on your back. That's my best analogy for that. So those 2 big things will help you succeed immensely.
Without a doubt. I had a boss who I used to work in the government, and I answered a constituent a certain way, and I told him the truth, because my feeling is if I tell them the truth, they make decisions from this point and push forward. If I don't tell them the truth, they make the decision, they push forward based on what they tell them, and then they get pushed back even further. And that's not fair. I wouldn't want it to happen to me. So I always told them the truth. And I got yelled at by my boss saying, don't tell them the truth. They're not going to like it. They won't be happy. And I said, they're going to be less happy with us and you if I don't tell them the truth. And more importantly, out of respect, they are not going to be happy with the answer, but they're going to appreciate the honest response. And everybody who's being told, an honest response is going to appreciate it at one point or another. So I do appreciate that. I love your 2. Thank you so much for being here, Lance. I'd love to have you back. So much more to talk about. Your entrepreneurial spirit is beyond. Once again, your website, f9productions.com. Please go there, see the rest of the nine principles that run your successful business, and love this time with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Lori. It was an absolute pleasure. I'd love to come back on one day.
Would love to have you. Thank you again for joining us today on Healthy Lifestyle with Lorianne. I hope we earned the privilege of your time. And I want to thank Lance again for coming on and having this just wonderful conversation that we had together. Thank you for joining us. I look forward to seeing you next time. Until next time, I am Lorianne Casdia. Play a higher role, serve a higher purpose, show up for you, and show up big. Have a great day.